So I just saw Edgar Wright's newest film, Baby Driver, and that's one of the most highly anticipated films in the month of June for me, because after the reviews that came out for SXSW, I think that's what it's called, just basically like the first screenings of the film, they were calling it like Edgar Wright's La La Land, and how they were incorporating music into what was going on with the film, and almost making it seem like it's a full-on musical. Now, I heard about the reviews, I got excited for it, I went to go see Baby Driver, and I really like the film. But I also kind of noticed how it's very similar to one of my all-time favorite films, and that is Nicolas Winding Refn's Drive, starring Ryan Gosling, which isn't a bad thing. The reason why I say that is because it doesn't take away what Edgar Wright has accomplished with Baby Driver. I believe he made an excellent film, but it's just something that I should point out, and it doesn't affect Drive in either way. Because it all really depends if like a film takes a certain plot elements or anything from one film to another, because in the end, it all depends on you guys, the viewer, to decide if that film is gonna be great or not. But this is coming from me, like someone who really liked Baby Driver, but also who really loves Drive, and I just wanted to talk about these two films. And in this video, I'll be covering the 5 major similarities between Baby Driver and Drive. Also, big, heavy spoiler warning for both of these films. If you haven't seen Baby Driver or Drive, I suggest you go out there, go watch these films, come back here, and let's discuss these films together. Now, if you don't really care, then okay, we'll enjoy the video. Now, the first similarity is both Baby and Driver being the same character. By the same character, I mean like they're both getaway drivers in the world of crime, and like deep down, they want to escape from this world, but they feel like they're stuck. They are both extremely talented at what they do, which is getaway driving, and these films clearly show that in their intros, that they're just like at the top of their game. And they're just awesome. They both have very little to say on, although like if I were to choose a character on like who says the least, it's Driver, hands down, because you know, Baby says a lot when he's like the outside of that world. Maybe not like a whole lot, but compared to Driver, yeah, he speaks quite a lot. But the point is, they express their kindness and human side when it's just them, and they're away from that part of their lives, which kind of holds them down in them being human. Their characteristics, their morals, all very similar, since each film follows like their views of the world. Now, the second similarity are the settings in each of the films. Now, Drive takes place in Los Angeles, and Baby Driver takes place in Atlanta, but more or less, I believe that it's the cities themselves that help push forward these films. Now, I'm a heavy believer that cities in itself can be a character altogether, just when it comes to the type of people that these cities contain. Just like any major city throughout the world, they have bad people in them. I notice how the criminals in Drive expand outward to more than just the crew that Driver works for. And just the same thing with Baby Driver, except that there's more cops than criminals being shown. And it's still expressing that even though Kevin Spacey doesn't like working with the same people heist after heist, he branches out to find more people to help him accomplish the jobs that he needs to get done. It's when you have more people working in the world of crime, the more darker each city can get. Now, the third similarity is the usage of music in the films. Drive has a more darker and serious approach to the music, while Baby Driver is like more of a light-hearted journey through upbeat songs of soul, rock and roll, and a little bit of remixes. They're all completely different genres of music, but they're both used in the same way, where it expresses the main character's views on how they look at the world. We hear the music in Baby Driver as a way of how Baby sees the streets of Atlanta. It's his form of escape, but he brings that form of escape even when he's working on a heist. The music in Drive has more of like a synthwave sound to it. Again, it's a serious approach in the eyes of the main character, but it's used as a way to express on how he feels in certain situations. I really do believe that music helps enhance that emotional journey in each of the films, because without it, it can be a bit boring. That is, if it's done right. You know, you have particular films like No Country for Old Men that has no music at all, but it falls into that style that Joel and Ethan Coen try to go for, and it's still incredible. But the films like Drive and Baby Driver use music to help express the emotions of the main character and how they view the world of crime that they live in. Now, the fourth similarity are the women that the characters eventually meet up. Baby meets up with a waitress named Deborah, and Driver meets up with a single mother named Irene. It's another reason for them to bring them out of their inner darkness. I believe these women are very important to the characters in each of the films, because without them, we wouldn't have Baby and Driver having that form of escape become a reality. Through Deborah and Baby Driver, Baby does eventually fall in love with her, and he has this huge plan where he wants to drive as far away as possible with her, start a new life altogether. Driver also wants the same thing with Irene, but the thing is, like, once Driver attempts to protect her, he kind of hints at the fact that he may never see her again, which kind of insinuates that he may die. And it's kind of funny how Baby and Driver use the same exact line when talking towards the women on how they they are the best thing that's ever happened to them, which, you know what, I don't blame these dudes in any way because it is the women that helped bring them out of the darkness. Now, the fifth reason is the overall outcome of these films and the somewhat ambiguous endings. Yes, I understand that these films have very different endings, but more or less they bring up the same theme on how the act of a criminal can affect the ones around you. At the end of Drive, Driver ends up killing Bernie Rose, but due to the fact that Bernie Rose says that he's gonna be looking over his shoulder for the rest of his life, Driver decides to leave behind Irene so he can keep her and Benicio safe. And it's left up to your guys' interpretation to decide whether Driver does die or not, because he gets stabbed pretty good by Bernie Rose. Baby Driver concludes kind of the same way. Now, Baby ends that lifestyle for him once and for all, and him and Deborah go off into the sunset, they go riding off, but right when they're about to escape, they get ambushed by the cops. He gets sentenced to 25 years in prison, and he gets a parole hearing after 5 years, and while he's in prison, he's getting letters from Deborah on how she's gonna wait for him, and then it cuts to what I believe could be a dream sequence. Now, they have a shot towards the middle of the film and how it's like a black and white scenario of Deborah waiting for a baby outside of his car. It's a very Hollywoodized scenario, but only for them to take that shot to add it to the last scene of the film. And then it's colorized, there's like a rainbow in the background, and Baby meets up with Deborah and they live happily ever after. At least that's what's in Baby's imagination. Or it really did happen and they just met up 5 years later. But that is the point of ambiguous endings. You're supposed to ask questions and it's great. But you know what? It's just a couple thoughts on how I view Baby Driver, similar to Drive in a sense, because I still find these films to be very fantastic. But if I were to choose the better film, it would be Drive all the way. But then again, Baby Driver is more of the fun film, something that I would show to my friends when they're like over or something, we're all hanging out, boom, put Baby Driver in the background. Again, it doesn't take away what Edgar Wright accomplished. I believe Baby Driver was fantastic, and I really challenge you that once you guys go see it, go watch Nicolas Winding Refn's Drive, and you're gonna kind of see those similarities between those two films. But I also want to know what your guys' thoughts are about the film Baby Driver. Did you love it, hate it, thought it was okay, and what are the similarities that you found that are in Drive? Whatever they are, let's have a discussion down below. And thank you so much, you guys, for watching this video. And don't forget to follow me on all social media such as Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I'm gonna leave all the links in the description box below. Keep in contact with me. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And as always, guys, may the Force be with you.